Alright, in this video we're going to be looking at constructors and how you can use constructors with inheritance. I'm going to head back to main here real quick, picking up where we left off. Whenever we create an object, which is what this line does, we have the data type, the reference variable, the assignment operator, the keyword new, and then a call to a constructor. This is the default constructor if you don't have anything in these parentheses. New is going to go out on the heap and allocate some memory for this object. And then the constructor is going to assemble that object out there, and then new returns a reference to that place in memory, which is stored in our reference variable. So that's how it works. And let's take a look at our constructor. If you don't provide a constructor, then there is one there, you just don't see it. If you want to write your own though, you're just going to write whatever the class name is, followed by parentheses and curly braces. A constructor is a method. It's a special method with no return type. Some people say it is a method with no name, and it is the object return type. You can think of it however you want to, but in any case, we're going to do it like this. And inside, you're going to assign values to whatever your member variables are. So I can say ID number equals whatever default value I want to put here. And we'll do the same thing for average mark. And there's our student constructor. We can do the same thing up in person. We can create a person constructor using the class name, and then we'll just assign values to each of the member variables. These are just default values. There's no way of putting anything meaningful in here without the user entering that information. But this is our constructor, and these are our default values. Now, if we wanted to, we can provide more constructors. This is called overloading. Let's say we wanted to pass in the name. And then we put in a string name here. And then I can set my class name, my object name, based on this name that is passed in. To do that, we say this dot name equals name. This is a reference to the current object. To whatever person we are working with, this points to that person. And if you want to, you can copy this information and paste it down below, just so those fields aren't empty. All right, now we have two constructors here. And when you have multiple constructors or multiple methods with the same name, that is called overloading. I'm going to head back to the student and overload it as well. So let's say when I create a student, I want to be able to add their name immediately. So I can do this. I can accept a string with this constructor, and then instead of saying this name equals name, I could do that and that would work just fine. But you can also use the constructor you've already written by calling super. And super is a reference to the class one level up. When you have inheritance, you can have multiple levels of inheritance. Super is going to take you one level up to whatever this class is derived from. If you use super in a constructor, it has to be the first line of that constructor. So I can just pass the name up there like that, and that will take me up to person, and it will set all of this information based on this constructor here. And again, we can copy and paste. And to test this out, I'm going to write a display method. And that will just show the member variables. So there we have ID number and average mark. To test this out, let's go back to main. And instead of typing just new student, we'll type in new student with a name. And then to verify that our constructor worked, we can call student.display. And my display statement is not very good, but you can see that it does work. So let's adjust that. If I put a backslash in there, it will drop it down and it will make it a little easier to read. ID number and average mark. Now that doesn't show the student's name. So let's go up to the base class and write a display statement there as well. And there's our display statement. Now I'm going to call this display statement from student so that we get the information from both classes. So to call display from the parent class, I'm going to use super and then just write display like that. And now it will call person display and then it will show the student's display. So if we test it out, we see we have the name, the address, the phone number, the email, and so on. I've got a space here I don't want. I can fix that by taking this space out. And there we go. That looks much better. So that's how you would use a constructor with inheritance.